account. Oh, are we live? Yes, we're live.
We
We're
are live.
live. Happy hump day. It's Wednesday already. Can you believe it's May 10th? It's crazy.
I don't. I have like such poor perception of time now. It's like I'm just going through life without remembering anything.
Yeah, same here, friend. Well, welcome to today's live with Vivek Kinra, guys. Vivek has been a part of this community for like since the beginning. Like you and your wife, Luda, and you guys know him as the CEO of PPO Profits. He also has another company called Verific, and we're going to chat about all things insurance verifications. He is going to present his screen, and then we're gonna entertain all your questions. So make sure if you have those burning insurance questions, make sure to type it in the chat so that Colin can read it to us. All right, is that good? Is that cool, Vivek?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Let's go. And Colin told me I have to smile more because I don't.
So I can take
smile
more
enough.
screenshots.
All
All right.
right. So this, what I wanted to do over here is largely just actually do a show and tell, an actual demo, right? It's a product that we have. I think you know the company called Verific, but we have released a new product called Very Smart. I think some of you have kind of been aware of something that we were building that we dubbed Verific Plus, but now we have a name for it, and we call it Very Smart, right? And I wanted to show this demo, and our goal right now is really to solve insurance verifications once and for all, right? Like I think all of us kind of recognize that insurance verifications is just such a it's a it's what I call a 1990s problem in 2023. Actually, it's a 1980s problem in 2023, right? Um, Weirdly enough, right? AI has gotten so strong in so many different areas, right? I mean, you've got all these interactions with Chat GPT that can find anything. You've got cars driving themselves, right? But when it comes to figuring out what policy, what benefits, does a patient have, people are still calling from their dental office to the insurance companies, staying on hold for like 40, 50 minutes, punching in all of this information in this practice management software. It's so incredibly antiquated, right? And it's somewhat by design, right? Like insurance companies, unfortunately, don't make it easy. So we just have come up with a system how to build a software that kind of solves this problem. And to solve this problem, somewhat we need your help as well. So, by the way, Ashley, I lost you. I don't see you anymore.
I was trying to remove myself so that you could be bigger, but apparently it also mutes me. So okay, I'll be here.
Yeah, no worries. So, we have a HIPAA compliant view. This is a patient that's a relative that's given us authorization to utilize this to do a demo, right? And so if you see I'm going to do an open dental demo here. I also want you to know that there is a Dentrix equivalent as well. So we have not as much integrated as I'm going to show you with open dental. And then you can utilize Very Smart as a standalone product as well, right? So all three of those things work. So it doesn't matter anymore which practice management software you have for you to be able to use Very Smart, right? It's just that if you have Dentrix, then we've got some better integrations, which means we can take a look at your schedule in the cloud, right? Verify patients over into the cloud and push a PDF document back into your Dentrix document center. But if you have Open Dental, it takes multiple steps further, which is it's a built-in plugin to Open Dental, so you can see everything directly on Open Dental. And the one benefit of Open Dental is that when we import the benefit details, it goes right back into the actual fields into the practice management, so that your treatment plan automatically becomes as accurate and as accurate as possible. Okay, so this is Very Smart. When we click on it, it pulls up this thing that's called Very Smart. Okay, now what it's doing is it's taking a look at the schedule tomorrow, and it's pulling up all the patients, and again, first name, last initial, with the patient um, um, numbers for us, right? And so you would bring up the whole day, and you would say verify selected. Right now, I've selected these three patients, as an example, and I'm going to say verify selected. You can verify the entire day, right? And that would be your normal workflow. You would every single morning just verify all the patients for any day. You can just choose, a day, 2 weeks out, 3 weeks out, and verify all the patients. What you've noticed over here, actually, I'm going to try and verify everyone real time with you. So I'm going to say all and verify everyone. What you'll see is it takes about a minute, right? Um, so I'm going to redo everything real time so that you can see. I don't know if you can see that. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm just impressed.
Oh, okay. So I don't know if you can see it says last verification date. So you're seeing that it's actually putting the data like annual max 1617.9 is remaining, $2,450 and 3 cents 30 cents is remaining. The policy is active. If it's inactive, it'll tell you it's inactive, right? This one may have an invalid subscriber ID or something that you may have to go back to the patient and correct. Right, it's going to populate the information with the group number it finds in here, so that you've got, as you know, that benefits are based on employer and group that includes the subgroup number, right? So it got through with the day, right, and it pulled in a lot of the information that you can kind of see. Now the thing that I want to show you is this missing fields. Okay, some of them say missing fields 4, some of them say 22, and I want to share what the difference is. So because this is one of our demo patients that has given us authorization, right? I'm going to open this verification. Okay. So when I hit this open, this is the Very Smart Cloud. Okay. Now, anyone, regardless whether you have open dental, dentrix, etc., has access to this, right? And what it's doing is it's actually pulling the information for this patient that is customized to your dental office. And when I mean customized, you actually go over here to form customization. And during onboarding, when you first get started, you actually build out your own customized form, right? So you would say for your office, these are the things that I really care about when a patient walks in. So for example, you may do nitrous, right? So like, for example, in our office, my wife does not do nitrous, right? So we have nitrous off, but you can turn it on, right? And it would also turn some, related fields like what's the frequency, which teeth is it covered on, etc., right? And so once you've gone through this um, uh, mechanism of turning on the fields that you really care about in your breakdown form, like here, silver diamond fluoride is on, as an example. Okay. Um, you can have pretty much anything. Like, do you have like a, um, give me an example, Ashley, or I know Colin is there as well, of anything that you guys care about in your office for some procedure types you want to do.
Ortho coverage for adults.
Okay, so I'm going to go into ortho, and it says you can turn on waiting period, you can turn on the percentage ortho lifetime for subscriber, child, student, because sometimes it can be different. Okay, so you can then save this form, right? And what would happen is in here, if you see the missing fields for this will actually go up more than likely because I turned on a couple of related fields for ortho. I don't know if you saw, now you can see the ortho coverage is not there as well, that it's saying. So hopefully you recognize that once you have uh, customized your form, our software is then going to go to 3 different sources and pop and set and normalize and standardize into our form. Because, so I'll show you this. Source 1 is directly from the insurance's software API. And you can see that data by clicking on this button called Go to Source. So even just this, how people go to like insurance portals or get a fax back, etc., going to, logging in into all the different places, you don't need to do that because you're going to get all of this data. This is coming directly from the insurance company. Okay. So you can see what's the insurance is providing. And our software, what it's doing is it's scanning through it. The AI is reading a lot of the information and understanding it and normalizing it into a standardized form. For example, it understood that there is no missing tooth clause for this, right? It understood based on when the effective date was that this plan starts in January. Does it make sense? So that's source one, but there'll be a lot of information that we just simply cannot find directly from the insurances. The one thing is, if anybody's ever done any insurance verifications, they know what I'm talking about. That all of the insurance portals and all of the facts, packs, etc., everything looks different for all insurance companies. So it's super duper annoying that you almost have to be an expert in reading how MetLife presents information. Very often it's very specific to that particular employer as well, right? So you almost just have to be very well trained in knowing what is it that the insurance is trying to say. And again, as anybody that's done insurance verification, it's almost like, they're trying to trick you as well, right? Like you read this information, you're like, what does it actually mean? You have to then call. Most people just give up. It's a 40-minute hold time, and then you ultimately find out that the claim got denied because you didn't ask a specific question that you just couldn't find anywhere, right?
Right.
So after we've scanned through this and standardized it, the second place that we go to is that so far for the last 2.5 years, Verific has been an outsourced company, right? Which means that we didn't have this type of a portal that the dental office can use directly. They simply sent us a verification request, and we completed the verification request, and we would call the insurance company and punch in this information, right? So we have maintained a master database. And so we have tens and tens of thousands of policies in our master database. And it's got very, very heavily caveated information. Things like, can you do all four quads of SRP on the same day, right? Or can you do an extraction and bone graft on the same day? Information you just cannot find it on the portals, but you really need it to know for to be able to like accurately estimate treatment and be a little bit more concrete on if something's going to get covered or not, right? And then third, all of our very smart users, and this was somewhat of a secret sauce that we weren't ever telling anyone, right? But now the cat's out of the bag because this is a product that we're releasing, and people can sign up for it now, right? But it's completely crowdsourced, which means that all of the very smart users are connected. So if, let's say, this employer is actually Cigna, the company, right? So now, let's say there's 7 fields that are missing, and I complete it, right? As a somebody sitting in a dental office, it is now available to all other very smart users if they have a patient that comes from Cigna. So right now, what's going on is that every single time a patient goes to a dental office, they're calling the insurance company. We are just centralizing all of this data, so we're all helping each other into this. Now, I'm also oversimplifying it because we don't automatically just trust one person putting this data in. So there's a software algorithm that we build, that's a proprietary algorithm that checks, to make sure that the data that's coming in is accurate, etc., right? And you can see this, that in here there's a green check. Green check means you can trust the data, right? You can see there's 2 fields that are unconfirmed. So for example, our software thinks that silver diamond fluoride is 90%, but it's not 100% sure yet, right? So whoever is actually doing the verification, which could be the dental office themselves, or they could outsource it to us, they would go over and see what is it, right? So I can just search for 1354 as an example. There it is. And I can see it is 90%, right? So now if I hit confirm, what will happen is this got a green check. So from now onwards, no one that is using Very Smart needs to check this data anymore, because we know that through a series of a manual check in our software that silver diamond fluoride is covered at 90% for this employer and this group number. So if you now have a patient that comes over to your office that also has Cigna, the employer Cigna, right? Then all of this data is already there and you can just import it right away. Okay. So the more users that we get, the faster we build the data, and less we all have to like rely on calling the insurance companies. So hopefully over time, with with a few thousand users and with a few months, what's going to happen is that this data is like almost zero, which means you're going to be able to import the data back into your practice management software right away. And what we're building, which is going to come soon, is that the moment you put a patient in the schedule, we just populated back all the data that we could find, right? And I'll show you what this means. So now what going to do is I'm going to complete this plan. Now keep in mind, the dental office can utilize the software and do it themselves, or they can outsource it to us. And there's a different cost to it that I'll get to it as well, right? Like, so for example, here, if there's only 4 fields, I might as well just do it myself because I might not even need those fields and I can skip it and I'll show it to you how it's done. Or but however, here there's 25 fields that are missing, and your office may say, I don't have time for this. I'm just going to have Verific do it, and you can just hit this button to outsource. There it is, and we will complete it for you. And once we've completed it, you can import the data. And I'm going to show you a completion of this plan that in my demo and how you can actually import it. So I'm going to hit complete plan. I'm going to just skip a field here because I just for a quick demo. Typically, you would basically get this covered and check, the data. But I'm going to just skip this, and you can see this is going to start going down because and when I skip it, when I disable it, I'm only skipping it for this patient, not for your customizations. Because I might just say, I'm not doing sealants for this patient, it's an adult, right? I don't need this data. But remember, once someone puts this data, it becomes available to others. So you don't have to put this over and over again. We just like work together as a team to just complete this, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and just skip it right now for the purposes of the demo. And I don't know if you saw that for the fields that were enabled, it brought up all the ortho information as well, right? This data is done. I'm going to now submit this plan. And the good thing is that there are 2 fields that are confirmed. Now, anybody else that looks at this data, right, for this employer Cigna, for any other patient, they already have all this. So the first thing it did is it actually downloaded this PDF. And again, please, this is, one of our relatives who's given us a authorization for this, right? But take a look at this. All of this data gets populated into a really neat and clean format. And then the next thing that happens is if I go over here and I refresh that day, you'll see that now there's no missing fields. That's why there's an import button that shows up. I'm going to go back over here to my Open Dental and show that there's no really data in here for this particular patient yet. But now if I hit import, it says benefits imported successfully. And so now if I go and click it on it again, there it is. All the data just auto-populated into the individual fields, and the detailed breakdown document that was downloaded got automatically placed into the insurance folder right here. So this is just a one quick glance. You can see all the data for this particular patient, right? But with the import, the data also also just flowed right back into the individual fields, so the treatment plans becomes much more accurate. A kind of show so hopefully this made sense that what we're trying to do over here is that it's built in, right? And I'm going to open the Verific website. It's built in. Utilize the software, right? Do all the daily verifications to see how much data you were able to find. The more users we get, the more and more data we'll be able to find for each other, right? Import that data if you've got all the data, or if you don't need some of the data, right away. All of that stuff is like as part of a monthly subscription that I'll show you. But if it turns out that you've got a patient and our very smart database doesn't have enough data for that, and you don't have the time to do it, outsource it to us. And I'll show you what this means with the whole pricing. So number one, there's a one-time setup, and anyone for and we're really really underpriced right now, right? So we're kind of a startup that has to be really cautious about money, right? So we can't really give too much discounts, but Dr. Ashley, for your group, will at least give $100 discount for on the setup, right? So this will comes for if you start and you're part of the making of a down startup group, and you put that in the getting started form, the setup becomes 199. After that, there's no contract, no month to month. You can stop anytime. The $99 a month gives you access to all of the very smart software, right? So the Open Dental plugin or the Dentrix integration, the ability to go over here and take a look at the source data, etc. So it'll save you already a lot of headache and time, because right now you're going to all the different portals and calling, etc., and filling out all the information. You'll just have a really good starting point. You may only have four fields missing, and if you decide that you can complete it or skip it, import it directly, all of that stuff is included in the 99 bucks a month. But if you decided to outsource it, we recognize that you will more than likely outsource things that you couldn't find enough information, which means we will get outsourced data breakdowns for stuff that has many missing fields. So there's an $8.95, and then we call on your behalf. The good thing is, once we have called on your behalf and populate the information, we've also populated that employer plan. So now for every other users that's using VerySmart, they don't have to outsource anymore because that data is already available there. Okay.
Gotcha.
Minus the few fields that they may have that for their own customized office. Okay. So on the website, you'll see, our pricing and everything is there. You can see an example of what a detailed breakdown looks like. The same document that I kind of showed you, right? Uh, and again, the yeah, there's some frequently asked questions, all of that stuff. I would recommend that you take a look at it. But it's a really really cool software, and the good thing is that the more users we get, the better and better it becomes. And if you want to then get started and kind of join the whole very smart community, just hit this button called get started, fill out the onboarding form, and once you fill this form out, you'll get a DocuSign packet, in which case you can sign the DocuSign, and you can there'll be a link for you to schedule a training and onboarding. So there's three people in the onboarding training group right now. They're all getting super booked, but they'll kind of go through, install the software, train you on how it's used, and then you can start using VerySmart. And what will happen over a course of a few months, that here when you see, oh, I have 33 missing fields, you might see, oh, I only have three missing fields, and you go through a whole day and be like, there's only two, three pieces of missing data for my customized form, and you can just import all of this data that is trusted, automatically populated back into the practice management software. It'll really save everyone like hours and hours and hours and a lot of headache. So the hope is we get tens of thousands of users, and then none of us ever have to make a phone call to an insurance company again because we already have all the data.
That is so awesome. I think I'm a bit confused. What is the difference between very smart and verific then?
Yeah, it is a super confusing thing because we're actually trying to get away from Verific. Verific
Um,
is the name of the company.
okay.
Okay? Very Smart is the name of the software. So
Okay.
what happens is when you outsource through Very Smart, right? Like I don't know if you remember, like you kind of hit this button called outsource.
Hmm.
The company Verific gets the verification to complete, right? However, we are also currently there is a few other insurance companies, verification companies, that are starting to use Very Smart under the hood.
Oh,
So what will happen is instead of outsourcing it to us, you'd be able to outsource it to them by using the Very Smart software. So the ecosystem, the database, and everything is very smart. And Verific is just the name of the company that owns the software as well as the service component that you're going to outsource the verifications to. It is a little confusing. I will grant you that, right? Um, because the people know the company as Verific for a long, long time, right? And so it's just think of it as very smart, the software by Verific.
nice. Do you anticipate your software being able to do pre-auths in the future? No.
Now, so that's still like because we're still not at the clearinghouse level, right? And there's some like I I went to like one of the conferences recently about revenue cycle management, and there's just so many problems, right? Like the ultimate thing is that a lot of these insurance companies really don't have any incentive to make this so much better for you. That's why what we're doing is we're saying, okay, if you are not going to provide the information, we are just going to get it once and share it with all our community, right?
Mhm.
So that, not like PPO profits is a classic example, right? Like there's 20 something employees in the company in the United States, right? And there's the we offer dental insurance for everyone, right? And because it is covered 100% by the company, etc., pretty much everyone has it. Now, the good thing is that we only have one plan, which is like what most employers have. So if one of the employees of the company goes to a dental office that's a very smart client, then any other dental office that's using very smart never has to verify manually a patient that is an employee of PPO profits, because it all just flows back into their system.
Gotcha. Well, I know that you have your own webinar that's going to start in 5 minutes. Do we have any questions, Colin? No questions. But if you were just tuning in now, make sure to watch this from the beginning because, oh my gosh, I imagine my front office like loving this and just saving so much time and headache. Every time I look at them, they're on the phone and then they have the website up for the insurance companies and they're on hold. It's, I mean, we all know that in our offices. So thank you. This is awesome.
Yeah, thanks. I know you don't sound as impressed, but hopefully a lot of people that are.
Super
No, it's
impressed.
I
all
think
good.
you could do
It's
this now, even.
all good. Uh, I'm just saying that the folks who are like that are doing this on a day-to-day basis will probably
Right.
feel the pain, right? Like, oh man, like every time I'm doing like a one-on-one demo, right? I
Yeah.
get this all the time. I'm like, I thought about this long time ago. Like, why do I have to call in and my friend at another dental office has to call in for the same employer, right?
Yeah.
Why can't, right? So we're like, all right, so basically we're just creating this vast master database utilizing everyone and connecting everyone.
Well, it is really cool stuff that you're doing, my friend. Yeah, no, thank you. And reach out to him. Make sure to mention that you're part of the group so you get the $100 off. And yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for sharing your screen. That's super cool. I can't. Yeah. I mean, Judy and Jules are their minds are going to be blown when they see that. So
To be quite honest, what is even more impressive is the fact that we were able to start a live without any technical glitches. It's never happened with you.
very true. Very true. You couldn't hear me. I couldn't hear you. You couldn't see me. I don't know. But now we have a different software. Shout out to StreamYard. Let's get them to sponsor. Yeah, no, it's great. Okay, go run to do your webinar. It's so good to see you, and I'll see you in
All
Napa.
right. You bet. Take
All
care.
right.
Take care, Colin. Bye. There you go. Yeah.
Bye. Thank you.